You're live with BBC News. The Israel Defence Forces said tonight over 150 hostages still remain in Gaza. And while they have agreed to an extension of the truce, they remain committed to their military objectives of dismantling Hamas. We continue to train and prepare for the next phase, they said. Let's talk then to government spokesman Mark Regev, who has joined us this evening. Mark, is there anything you can share with us on the 11 hostages who've been released this evening?
So it's my understanding that they've been transferred now to the Red Cross, and we are waiting for them to be back on Israeli soil. Only when they are back at home can we say this has truly been done, and that the original deal that was negotiated with the help of the Americans and the Egyptians and the Qataris, only then can we say that this has really been done. But we think it's probably only a matter of time now.
For how long, Mark, is the Israeli government prepared to prolong this truce?
So we've said clearly since the very beginning, the framework that was negotiated was for 4 days for 50 women and children. And we've said publicly repeatedly, that we're willing to give an extra day for every 10 hostages released. And so the ball is in Hamas's court. To what extent are they willing to release hostages?
What happens? I mean, it must surely have occurred to the authorities there that at some point Hamas will change the price. So they'll start dripping out hostages in 1s and 2s and 3s. And the pressure from the families will be such that they want you to maintain the truce so long as people are coming out. What happens then?
So I think we can't agree to such a slippery slope, because the minute we agree to 8, yes, then it'll be down to 6 and then 5 and then 4. We know who we're dealing with. We're dealing with a ruthless and fanatical terror organization. We saw the sort of violence that they committed against innocent civilians on October 7th. And just tonight, in the people released, I've received the list. There are 2 3-year-old twins. Yes? Who kidnaps 3-year-olds? Only a brutal, ruthless terrorist organization. So we have few illusions about who we're dealing with. But as President Biden said on Friday, he said Hamas understands one thing, and that's pressure. And I think the pressure of the IDF, the military blows that they were receiving, and the IDF was acting very, as you know, energetically to disrupt Hamas's military machine, to destroy its underground tunnels, to take out its senior commanders. They were desperate for a ceasefire, and the only way they could get such a pause was by agreeing to finally agree to release hostages. And they know that if there is not a continued release of hostages, the military operation resumes. And I think that influences their decision-making process. All the people who said Israel should agree to a unilateral ceasefire, none of these 50 hostages would ever have got out.
Can I just go back to what you said? There were 2 3-year-old twins. Are they part of the group this evening, or were they over the weekend?
Yes, part of the group this evening. The group of 11 tonight.
Oh,
yes,
that
includes 9 children, of which there's a group of 2 twins, 3-year-olds.
Wow. OK. Well, that is good news for the family concerned. I want to talk to you about some of the concerns that have been expressed externally today. Jake Sullivan, the White House National Security Advisor, appears to have indicated that the United States doesn't want Israel to start its offensive in the south until they have a full plan worked out to protect civilians. And we've heard similar things today from the British government. Andrew Mitchell saying he doesn't want Palestinians to be kettled, his words, into safe zones without assurances from the IDF that those safe zones are off limits. Do you have a plan for people in Gaza if and when these hostilities continue?
So, yes, I was in a meeting today with senior IDF officers. There are specific zones in southwest Gaza that have been designated for humanitarian purposes, no conflict zones. And we are suggesting to the people of Gaza, and now there's a truce, there's a humanitarian pause, so maybe people don't feel the urgency. But we urge people to move to these areas, and we urge the international community, the humanitarian organizations, please, these are the areas where the IDF has designated that these are safer areas, these are areas for people, civilians to congregate.
But is there space, Mark, for these people? I mean, you and I have talked about Al-Mawasi. It's 1 kilometre across, 14 kilometres down. For what? How many tens of thousands of people? Just very quickly.
There's more than one space. We've designated different areas, and as places fill up, we can go to other places, but it's important to start the effort. If you wait for a perfect solution, you're not going to find one. Yes, there's a war going on, but we have to make the best with what there is.
Understood. Mark Regev, lovely to talk to you. Thank you very much for coming on the programme. There you have it. 11 hostages released in the last half an hour that we know. Mark said they'd been handed over to the Red Cross. We understand that they are now being transferred to Israel. 3 French, 2 Germans, 6 Argentinians. And Mark just telling you there that among them are 2 3-year-old twins. We'll continue to keep across that. And of course the release of the Palestinians, which we are watching at the prison in the West Bank.